Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome everybody to the March 8th Oklahoma City Planning Commission meeting and ask if you have cell phones, pagers, or other electronic devices, if you would turn those off or silence them for us, please. If you're not the applicant and you've come to address us on an item today, would you please sign up? The sheets like this are on the table right outside the chambers. Give them to our secretary and we would be happy to hear you. With that, we'll go to approval of the February 23rd minutes.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and second to approve the February 23rd minutes. Cast your votes. Minutes are approved. Continuance request, Russell.
We have 7 uncontested requests for continuance. Items 14 through 19 request to continue until March 22nd. These are items C6319, C6322, PUD 1453, PC 10300, C6332, and PC 10303. Those are all until March the 22nd. And item 20 is SP 440, a request to continue until April the 12th.
Is there anyone who came to talk to us about those items today, items 14 through 20 on our agenda?
Move the uncontested continue.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the uncontested continuances. Cast your votes. Those are approved.
We have 5 new requests for continuance. Item 6 is C6338, a request to continue until April the 12th. Item 7 is SPUD 653. Item 8, C6336. Item 9, CE 821. Item 12, SPUD 656. All requested to continue until March the 22nd.
Again, is there anyone who came to talk to us today about items 6, 7, 8, 9, or 12 on our agenda?
Move approval of the additional continuance request.
Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the additional continuances. Cast your votes. And those are approved. Are there any continuance requests from the public today? Okay.
On item B, items requiring separate vote, item 1 is PC 10301, an application by Michelle Stainor to rezone 313 Northwest 61st Street from R1 single family to O1 limited office in Ward 2.
Is the applicant here? I'm a representative. Okay. Well, come forward then. Give us your name and address for the record, please.
David Hardy in P.O. Box 969, Stillwater, Oklahoma.
Okay, commissioners, no one has signed up. Any questions of Mr. Hardy?
Could you tell us just a little bit about what you plan to do with this site?
Dr. Sainer is a dentist. We intend to build a dental clinic.
Thank you.
Any discussion, commissioners?
Move approval. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve item 1. Cast your votes. And that's approved. Janice, are you voting? Thank you. You're approved, Mr. Hardy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 2 is PC 10302, an application by MJH Properties to rezone 401 West Wilshire from R1 to I1 Light Industrial District, Ward 7.
Mr. Hall?
My name is Malcolm Hall. I'm at 6800 West Melrose in Oklahoma City. This site was a former site of an old Tasty Freeze. It had been there for 40 or 50 years, I suppose, and I was surprised to see that it was R1. I thought it was C3, but nonetheless, it's there on that corner and it's been there in operation there on Wilshire. We own, to the east of this, we own the rest of this block. Across the street, we own the whole block, and across the street to the east again, we own the whole block. And we have a real nice little industrial development there that caters mostly to the design and decorator industry that serves Nichols Hills and Village and that area. And we, if you have any questions, be glad to answer them.
No one has signed up, commissioners.
Mr. Hall, the only question I have is you are asking for straight I-1 zoning here, and I'm wondering why you don't put this in a SPUD. You have SPUDs to the east. You have some straight zoning, albeit C3, to the west, but you don't have any straight industrial right there on Wilshire. What do you want to? This is a small lot. What do you want to do with it?
Just the same thing I've done with the frontage you see down to the 7-Eleven. We own both of those, and then the block to the entire block further east. We'll just do the same thing that we've done with those.
So again, why can't you put it in an SPUD and put some controls on it rather than just have straight I-1 zoning?
We can do that, Mr. Gales, if you'd like for us to. It was such a small tract that in discussing it I just thought I-1 would be just as good.
Okay.
We will control that. As you know, we don't rent to body shops, mechanics, or anything that it would hurt everybody's development down that street. We'll be consistent with everything that is already there. And we built a very, very nice building.
Mr. Hall, what are you doing with the building now, you said?
Pardon me, sir?
What are you doing with the building now?
When will I start?
Say that again.
I didn't hear you, sir. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
I was saying, what are you using the building for in its present state?
Oh, we tore it down. We tore down the old Tasty Freeze that was there.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a vacant lot now, sir.
Okay. Yeah, I thought.
Well, I have to say, I had the same comment that Commissioner Gales had, because of the controls. I-1, you have this much, no restrictions at all, but on this place on Wilshire, it is, you own a good piece of property there.
Yes, sir.
I mean, it really is. But, one of the issues that would be is signage. Under I-1, right there on that corner, you could put a 50-foot pole sign without any controls.
Mr. Wright, I can amend this to Spud if you'd like for me to.
I would.
don't mind at all.
And I really think that just because of where it is, if it was out there in a goat pasture, well, we'd probably ask the same thing. But
Enough said. I'm happy.
So what's your point?
So what's my point? I don't know point.
I'm happy to
But
do
I
that.
would really prefer that. And I think that Commissioner Gales,
Well, I do too, I guess. Sorry I didn't do it to start with. It just was such a small piece of ground, I thought, well, I'll just go ahead and ask for that instead of doing this. But I'm happy to
But it's
amend that. I'll
on
amend that
an
and
important street.
Send out a new notice. I
Okay,
think
good.
your comments are well taken.
All right, good.
And thank
Okay.
you both.
Mr. Hall, while you're there, again, just for clarification, do you own the rest of the block going west to Walker?
No, sir, I don't. I don't. A friend of mine owns that, but own to Walker, I don't. I own to the east.
Okay.
I own everything except the 7-Eleven in that block. You see, Spud, 267, 627.
Yes, yeah.
And if you go further to the east, I own that entire block on 79th and on Wilshire.
Okay. Thank you. That answers my question.
Okay.
How much time do we need to
JJ,
restructure
do a
this
spud on
application?
this timeline?
Let's go to April 12th.
Okay.
I can do it before then if you like. Okay. Thank you very much. Sorry to spend your time.
So we'll
with this.
take a motion then to continue this to April 12th and,
Move it
Spud.
to continue to April 12th.
Second.
all right, cast your votes. And it's continued to April 12th. Thank you, Mr. Hall.
Item 3 is ABC 753. It's an application by BJ's for an ABC 2 overlaying C3 Community Commercial at 325 Outlet Shops Drive, Ward 3.
Is the applicant here? If you'd give us your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, good afternoon. My name's Joan Legay. I'm with BJ's Restaurants. Address is 7755 Center Avenue, Huntington Beach, California.
Nice neighborhood.
Thank you.
Commissioners, no one has signed up.
Just one quick one, Mr. Chairman. Is this the same type of restaurant that you guys are operating up on Memorial Road?
This restaurant is a much newer restaurant. It's has more updated kitchens, architectural features, natural stones and slates. It's our latest restaurant. Latest design.
Well, basically, same bill of fare. That.
Yes, yeah, full service sit down restaurant.
Thank you.
full menu.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve item 3. Cast your votes. And you're approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 4 is CE 820. This is an application by Larry Butler to close a 20-foot alley in Ward 7.
Good afternoon. David Box, 522 Colcord Drive, here on behalf of the applicant. Also with me is Justin Frisbee and Larry Butler. Our application is to close an alley that is south of Southeast 29th between Byers and Durland. This is an alley that for a long time has been fenced off and hasn't been used as an alley. There are cars parked there, grass has grown up, and much of the property owners thought that it was already closed, but it wasn't, so we're now here before you to go through the process to have it closed. Staff has recommended approval, and we're here to answer any questions.
Mr. Box, all the properties on both sides of the alley, all the property owners are in agreement with this?
Everyone we've talked to, we're over the 50% that's required. There are a few homes over there that we weren't actually able to get a hold of, but the staff has advised even if we close it, the proper circulation is still there, so there is no protest.
Okay, thank you.
Do you get the consent in writing?
I'm sorry?
Did you get the consent in writing from these property owners? In writing?
Over the 50%?
Did they, yeah,
I believe so. I'd have to defer to staff, but we have to have over 50%, which I believe has to be in writing.
JJ says yes,
Yeah.
that we have it.
I'm just,
They have to have over 50% to make
but
it.
it's written consent.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
No one signed up.
I move approval of the application.
We have a motion and a second to approve item 4. Cast your votes. And it's approved.
Thank you.
Item 5 is DA 23487. This is an application by Martha Joan Mulholland to obtain a lot split at 9436 West Reno in Ward 3.
Good afternoon. David Box, 522 Colcord Drive, here on behalf of the applicant. Also with me is Brian Kuhn. What we have here is a lot split application.
He's not with you. He's way back there.
He's hiding in the back. He wanted to make a quick getaway. The reason we are before you, we have 2 previous lot splits on this site. This being our third requires that we come before the Planning Commission. So the purpose of our application is to facilitate a sale. It's currently under contract. There's a new buyer that's going to come in and develop the site. There was one issue with sewer. In our contract, the funds were escrowed for the sewer, and the sewer will be installed next week. So with that, we would ask for approval, and we're here to answer any questions.
David, where is the sewer connection that you'll have to tap?
I'm going to defer to Brian Kuhn on that one.
Okay. I knew we'd get him up here.
For the record, Brian Kuhn with Kuhn Engineering, representing the applicant also. The sewer tap, if you go to the far east of this drawing, the dark line that's over there, and then back up just a little bit to the west, it's on the other side of Reno, so we're going to bore underneath Reno and then bring it down west. Now, I do want to correct it. He just heard me wrong. The sewer line, the plans are being turned in next week. We had to get through the contract issues. It's kind of like a chicken and the egg. We got to do the contract, then we can do the sewer plans. Then we're going to also bore under Reno with the water connection also. So those plans will be turned in next week.
Just out of curiosity, don't the truck stop and the McDonald's or whatever have sewer where they are?
Yes, but there's a ridge there, and they flow to the west.
Okay.
The sewer needs to go east.
And Brian, your client is going to develop the remainder of this tract that we're splitting off, if you will. Yeah, is this going to be one single-use development? What are they going to do?
We are working on a preliminary plat at this time to, if you see where the there's a plus sign, I guess you'd call it there on the drawing. We're going to bring a street in off of Reno and bring it down to the south with a cul-de-sac on it and have lots on both sides, and we'll do that in a plat.
Okay, but you're platting this deal.
And we're going to plat it in probably 200-foot lots so that someone could buy 2 or 1 or whatever.
But my point is, you're going to plat this entire tract. We're not going to see another lot split request.
Right.
Had this been platted originally, obviously we wouldn't have seen the second lot split.
Yeah, there'll be a new plat for going further east because we're going to put a street in over there. So yes.
But as far as this subject site is concerned, the entire site will be platted.
Yes, the remainder where it says vacant, yes.
I have when you, on this area that you're splitting off,
Yes, sir.
it's still under the restrictions or whatever it is under PUD 757.
Yes, zoning has not changed.
And what's the base zoning of PUD 757?
I don't know that I know.
Well, here it's kind of the question that is raised when you have a lot split coming off of a PUD that was all one tract. When you do a lot split like this, that you have an access off of Reno and then there's Morgan Road, why isn't it appropriate for us to look at perhaps what kind of controls there are on that piece that you're splitting off, such as an SPUD? Is that something that we should look at with this one? Because there's no control, whatever PUD 757 is, but it's a new day. You know, signage, architectural issues, you know, whatever it is. But I just am curious, why isn't it something that we could do?
But doesn't it retain its underlying part of 757?
It would, but I mean, I think Bob's point in part is it would be nice to know what we're looking at.
We're not taking it out of the
No.
757.
Whatever the PUD provides.
We just don't have that in front of us, is your point.
We're not taking it out, but we're changing what it was that was initially presented back when PUD 757 was approved by the commission.
So this particular piece, for example, Bob, to your question, may have been tract 1 of PUD 757.
Right.
Right?
I don't know.
I'm just...
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, I got you. I understand now.
757 was an industrial PUD, and it was just one large tract. It wasn't divided in any way.
Okay.
I mean, it's just kind of a rhetorical question, but actually Nick told me to talk because he wants you not to break his record for the shortest meeting that we've had. Anyway, that's okay. It's all right. But you...
Well, now it's safe.
Okay.
Okay, nobody has signed up, commissioners, and I guess what we've got is a straight I-1 or I-2 PUD. We don't know.
I believe the PUD is I-2.
I-2. Okay. It's an area where that zoning is generally appropriate.
I'll move approval.
Second. Okay. Yeah, we need a variance
excuse me.
first.
I'll move approval of the variance to TE1, I guess.
Yeah, I need to move variance.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the variance. Cast your votes. And I think that approves the application.
Do we need to approve the application
The application is a
additionally?
variance, right? Oh, okay. So now we approve
still
the
have to
application.
approve the application.
Okay. I'll take a
I'll
motion.
move the application.
We have a motion and a second to approve the application. Now cast your votes. And that's approved.
Thank you.
Items 6 through 9 have been continued. Item 10 is PUD 1451, an application by Allenton Homes to rezone 3901 Northwest 164th Street from PUD 737 to PUD 1451 in Ward 8.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission. My name is Dwight Butler with Anchor Engineering. I represent the applicant on this item. We have worked diligently with staff and the surrounding property owners to make sure everything on this worked out beautifully, and I believe we have the blessing of all. Now, I would comment on 1 TE, which is number 2, I believe. Well, I got up here without my staff report. It's the one.
Yeah, TE2 regarding the subdivision buffer, we would agree with Dwight to delete that.
Okay. Are you in
Why don't
agreement
you
with
tell
the
us why
other
we're
T?
deleting that?
Are you
Why don't
in
you
agreement?
tell us why we're deleting TE2?
I beg your pardon, sir?
The subdivision buffer. Why are we deleting that?
There's the topo constraints, right? We have very, very minute frontage along 164th for the residential part of it. The terrain and the very, very unique shape due to the ODOT right-of-ways through there just made it almost impossible to put anything in there other than the bar ditch. So we have agreed to really over landscape, put berm and everything along the west side of our entry road and the south side of 166 Terrace adjacent to the substation to compensate for such.
Are you in agreement with the other TEs?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we have someone signed up. Mr. Van Roberts? Yes. If you'd give us your name and address us.
Yes, sir. I'm T. Van Roberts. I represent the Knox family who own the property immediately north of the application. And we had previously filed a letter of concern about the drainage. We've had meetings with Dwight and staff and engineering and so forth. And I think we've got it all resolved, and we would have no objection as it's done or stated today, as long as it's built and engineered to the spec that addresses the drainage, which is a serious concern to us north because we're downhill from it. I also want to take this opportunity to extend a vote of gratitude to the engineer here. Dwight's done a wonderful job. He was totally accessible to us during this whole process from the get-go, and the staff. We've had at least one meeting where they were totally accessible, and I just wanted you gentlemen, if you didn't know it, they're working hard for you and doing a nice job. They're accessible, Mr. Groves, Sarah, and we as the outside people really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you very much for sharing that with us.
But as long as Dwight gets it built, the way we've got it on the plans now, we have no objection. That's assuming, that his plan is correct and that we're not going to get flooded or additional water as a result of this development.
Well, that'll ultimately be up to Dwight's work and the city's Public Works Department once we approve this today.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. We don't have anyone else signed up, Commissioners. A motion would include deleting TE2.
Move the application deleting TE2. Second.
We have a motion and second to approve item 10, deleting TE2. Cast your votes. And that's approved. Thank you, Dwight.
Thank you very much.
Item 11 is C6321, which is a preliminary plat of Princeton Park affecting the same property, Ward 8.
Once again, I'm Dwight Butler with Anchor Engineering. I represent the applicant on this item. We do agree with the TEs with the exception of TE number 5. We would ask that that be stricken. And TE number 6, as mentioned before, we are berming along the west side of the entry and the south side of 166 Terrace. We do agree to a sidewalk along the common area until it intersects with the berm along the OG&E substation.
Okay, TE5 lines up with TE2 in the previous application. We have a variance to TE3, and we would then modify TE6 relating to the sidewalk on Northwest 166 Terrace to carry it to a point where it intersects with the berm. If that's the language that you were anticipating, Dwight?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Move variance TE3.
We have a motion and a second to approve the variance. Cast your votes. That's approved.
Move the application deleting TE5 and modifying TE6 as read.
The motion is second to approve the item 11 as conditioned. Cast your votes. And that's approved. Thank you, Dwight.
Thank you very much.
Item 12 has been continued until March the 22nd. Item 13 is to introduce and set for public hearing on March 22nd an ordinance affecting development regulations in the downtown design district, and this is relating to materials that may be placed, used, or stored on balconies.
And this is to set it for a public hearing here on March 22nd.
March 22nd.
Which we need to do in order to send it along.
Second.
A motion and a second to set item 13 to March 22nd. Cast your votes. And that is approved. That takes us to the end of the items for individual consideration. Planning Commission committees. Planning Commissioners.
We have our second goal-setting meeting, I guess is what it's called, for the
Plan OKC
Citizens
update.
Plan OKC update, the Citizens Advisory Team, tomorrow, 2 o'clock, at the Zoo Education Center.
Yep.
The third, that's right. The kickoff meeting, this is our second actual crawling through the mud on our hands and knees session.
And as they say in Oklahoma, y'all come.
That's right.
Planning Department?
You've heard several of the CIP proposals, and we have one more involving utilities. And I believe we're setting that in April. We're going to give you a break at the next meeting, and then we'll have that, and we'll have a couple of other items that we need to consider as well at that time.
Development Services, JJ? Municipal Counselor's Office? Citizens to be heard. We're happy to have you here. Any other business? A motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
All right, we are adjourned at 1:57.